A beautiful morning to you out there. Welcome to MCO News at 7. My name is Gloria Opara. The presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he will work with Abia State Governor to create millions of jobs for the teeming unemployed youth if elected. He was speaking in Umuahia during the PDP presidential campaign held at the Umuahia Township Stadium. Nora Okafor completes the story.
Atiku Abubakar said that he will pay attention to small and medium-scale enterprises to ensure millions of jobs for the youths, pointing out that Aba, as the SME capital of Nigeria, falls into his vision for Nigeria. He thanked Abia people for being loyal and supportive of the PDP government, pointing out that his party has brought prosperity to Abia. The presidential hopeful of the People's Democratic Party described the 2019 election as the most important in the history of Nigeria. He maintained that elections would determine the turning point of the country. He appealed for the vote of Abians as they go to the polls on February 16, 2019.
I am going to work with your governor to make sure that we create millions and millions of jobs for small and medium enterprises. And you know, Aba is the headquarters in the whole of Nigeria. We will create that hub and make sure Aba serves the rest of Nigeria. By doing that, we will create millions of jobs for our young men and women, particularly those who want to be in medium and small scale enterprises.
In his speech, the national chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, called on security agencies and other stakeholders not to rig the election as that will result to violence and crisis. Secondus said his party represents peace and stands for peaceful, credible, free and fair elections. He also called on the Ministry of Internal Affairs to be mindful of the nation's borders.
The entire country, the 120,000 polling units in this country is ready for Atiku. The world have seen it. We will refuse and reject any rigged election. All we ask INEC to do and the security agencies, don't rig this election. We are for peace.
Governor Okezekbas in his speech described Atiku as the right man for the job and called on Abians to come out in their numbers to cast their ballot for the PDP on February 16th and March the 2nd. He said the time for Nigerians to take their future in their hands is now. The PDP presidential candidate had earlier on arrival paid homage to traditional rulers in the state, where he was conferred with the chieftaincy title of Ahaija Agamba of Abia. Nora Okafor, MCL News.
Less than 2 weeks to the February 16th presidential election, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has been predicted to win the presidential election. Atiku, former vice president, is the main contender to the incumbent president Muhammadu Buhari. The Economics magazine had in 2015 predicted the win of President Muhammadu Buhari over former President Goodluck Jonathan. The magazine said although the election will be very competitive, Atiku and his political party will win the historic election. Economics noted that Atiku was poised for victory despite numerous challenges of corrupt practice against the former vice president. The present dispensation has seen more women actively participate in the nation's politics. This is even as there is still agitation that the political space be expanded to allow more women to participate. But with some women backing out of the content at the 11th hour, what does it portend for the women folks? Nchetachi Chukwaja in this report seek the effect of the trend on women. The report.
Over the years, women have been playing the second fiddle in political affairs. They are believed to be home builders and as such should be seen but not heard. This position is reinforced by the cultures and traditions of most Nigerian communities. In order to curb this anomaly, world governments have given certain percentage of elective and appointive positions to women. In Nigeria, 35% participation in the political sphere is allotted to women. This has given rise to more women aspiring for political offices, including contesting for the presidential seat. One of such women is the former Minister of Education, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, who vied for the presidential position on the platform of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria. Ezekwesili had hinged her campaign on the premise of ensuring girl-child education to further emancipate the political space for women. In fact, some Nigerian women were joyful when the former minister was selected to participate in the presidential debate organized by the Nigeria Election Debate Group and the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria. Their joy was short-lived when Ezekwesili backed out of the presidential race and said she intends forming a coalition that would wrestle power from the APC-PDP binary. Since she announced her exit from the presidential race, there have been insinuations that she let the women folk down. Some of the women who spoke to MCL News, however, believe that her exit would not deter more women from aspiring for political positions in the future.
It doesn't really mean that she's completely out of politics. It doesn't really mean that other women that are aspiring will not go forward. So maybe the decision she has taken is for the interest of maybe her group for now, or to meet a need for the hour. So it doesn't really mean that she's out completely from politics, and it will not bear other women that are aspiring from going forward.
Her profile, I think she has been doing very well, but I can't really dabble into reasons why she wanted to withdraw. But I think some of our women that have been into politics and that have been into government have been doing very well.
They identified some of the factors that impede women from actively participating in politics.
Irrespective of the fact that the Nigerian politics and some cultural norms and beliefs that are trying to dampen the interests of women and their zeal. But we'll still move forward. We're still hopeful.
Our culture here, the way women are belittled, but now I think the power is changing hands, because any woman that doesn't give birth to a girl child is a dropper. Culture, religion are two major aspects that hinder women from acting the way they are supposed to.
In other coming elections, it is hoped that more women will avail themselves to serve the country. Nchetachi Chukwaja, MCL News.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osibajo has escaped death following the crash a helicopter flying the Vice President to Kogi State. The chopper crashed in Kaba local government area of the state, but no life was lost following the courage of the crew to maneuver it. The senior special assistant to the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, made the revelation on his Twitter handle. Meanwhile, the Vice President continued his campaign in Kogi State after the crash. A similar incident has occurred in June last year when the Vice President made an emergency landing in Wagwalada, Abuja. Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has reacted to the news of the Vice President, Yemi Osibajo, cheated death in Kogi State after the helicopter conveying him crash-landed. The aircraft carrying the Vice President crash-landed in the Kaba, Kogi State on Saturday. However, Osibajo and all other occupants of the chopper escaped unhurt. Speaking on the development, Saraki joined Nigerians in thanking God for the life of the Vice President. Also reacting, Dogara called on government to ensure diligent check and government-owned aircraft in order to avoid such occurrence in the future. Both reacted via their Twitter handles. The federal government has deducted the report that the National Security Advisor planned to shut down internet access during the general election. The Office of the National Security Advisor, in a statement by its spokesman, Danjuma Ruben, on Friday denied the allegation. The government condemned the alleged plot to shut down internet access to facilitate rigging of the polls. It stated that the internet and associated communications infrastructure are major components of critical national information, which the Office of the NSA is mandated to ensure its security. The government stressed that every national security platform in the country relies on the same internet to function. It likened shutting down the internet to shutting down national development and security. The statement further says that the Office of the NSA maintained that it remains committed to protecting the rights of the public to access information and communication technology facility. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Katsina State has dismissed fears that it will be posting NYSC staff or conduct election in the local government area affected by the recent upsurge in security challenges. It said it has already conducted a workshop for senior security operatives in the state and training for about corps members selected for the exercise and therefore ready to deploy them in the 34 local government area of the state. The INEC training officer in Katsina State, Abdul Azer Hamid, told the nation in an exclusive interview that the training section held at the Kofu Primary School for about 1,650 corps members, that a total of 7,000 corps members were to be trained as electoral supervisors. They are also expected to undergo 3 days training in the state preparatory to the conduct of the general election in the state. The INEC boss further assured that the security of corps members will remain paramount and compulsory in their plan for the election process. The Nigerian Police Force has explained why stealing of women pants and underwear allegedly for ritual purposes cannot be investigated. Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba made a disclosure on Friday on a national television. According to Mba, cases involving stealing of pants for ritual purposes cannot be investigated because they are not empirically verifiable. The Fox PRO said police did not investigate divination or mortality except related acts that constitute criminal offense. He maintained that it is good to be positively ambitious but condemned the get-rich-quick syndrome with minimal skills or effort at a very short time. Mba also blamed media messages which influence the youth negatively. He stressed that the force will continue to fight the menace, including that of drug abuse, head-on, and warned youth to desist from criminal practices or be ready to bear the consequences. Medical and health workers under the Aegis Joint Health Sector Union will protest against unpaid April and May salaries on Monday next week. The national president of JHSU, Biobelemoye Joshua, reviewed this in Abuja on Friday. Joshua said members of the union observed the national prayer at the National Mosque on Friday and would also observe a similar national prayer in various churches on Sunday. According to the national president, members of the union are seeking divine intervention over industrial challenges confronting the health sector. Joshua maintained that the decision to embark on a nationwide protest and rallies followed the end of extensive nationwide mobilization after the expiration of its 15-day strike notice to the government. JHSU also seeking full implementation of the consolidated health salary structure, which it said is meant to create equity in the sector among healthcare professionals. The union claimed that government victimized workers involved in protests and strike by JHSU, even when the workers did not undertake any protest or stayed away from work without due process. You're still watching MC on here. Still to come, Central African Republic reaches peace deal with armed group UN. These and many other stories will be brought to you after the break. Please stay tuned.
Another political season is here.
The storm of partisan politics has thrown up numerous candidates.
Who can best represent the people?
Abia Media Roundtable presents Political Debates 2019 for governorship and National Assembly candidates.
Let the best candidates emerge through fair debates on relevant issues. Abia Media Roundtable.
Fairness and integrity.
2019 Abia Political Debates.
Date: 4th February for National Assembly candidates, 21st February for governorship candidates. Venue: Bines Hotel, Habat Macaulay Hall, Aba. For more information, call 080-5483-3026, 080-3669-3622, or 080-3300-3566. This program is proudly brought to you by ACT TV, BCA, Boss FM, Flow FM, Magic FM, MCL TV, NTA Channel 6 Aba, PBS, Pacesetter FM, Love FM, Vision Africa, and Ibere Online TV.
Glad to know you're still there watching. This is MCO News at 7. The Central African Republic, CAR, and 14 armed group has reached a peace deal during talks in Sudan capital on Sunday. The deal, the CAR government and the United Nations have said the renewed peace negotiation between the armed militants and the CAR government has been going on since January 24. The government also confirmed the agreement on Twitter, saying a peace agreement has been reached. The talks were deadlocked over agreement on amnesty issues earlier in the week, according to the AFP news agency. Under pressure from Western allies, the Bangui government has always refused amnesty for warlords, several of whom are under UN sanction or cited for human rights violation in UN reports. The talk is aimed to reach an accord and put in place a follow-up committee to try to establish peace in CAR, a country ravaged by wars since 2012. The U.S. Labor Department has said more jobs were created in January despite government shutdown. However, the department in a report said the disruption helped to push the unemployment rate higher. It said employer added 304,000 net new positions last month, the highest in nearly a year, almost double what economists had predicted. The new members were welcome news for President Donald Trump, who already low public approval rating suffered in the week of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. The construction, healthcare, hospital and retail sector added tens of thousands of workers. It was a sign that the robust labor market remains a fundamental source of strength, with the U.S. economy expected to slow in 2019. However, the 5-week government shutdown, the result of an impasse between the president and the Congress over his plans for a war on the U.S.-Mexico border, was at least partly responsible for an uptick in the jobless rate to 4.0%, the highest in 7 months. And in sports this morning, the Super Eagles coach Garnet Rowe has listed qualification to promote some Flying Eagles stars to Super Eagle. The German tactician said he's planning to promote at least one Flying Eagle to the Super Eagle for international friendly against Egypt in March. The former Bayern Munich defender was in Abuja running the rule over potential Super Eagles invitee before the Nigerian under-20 traveled to the Republic of Niger for the upcoming under-20 AFCON. The qualities listed by Rowe includes players without individual playing style but quality, players who play for the team, who have good spirit, good fight, good mentality, and of course, good fitness. And to end the news this morning, a look at our major stories again. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he will work with the Abia State governor to create millions of jobs for the teeming unemployed youths if elected. He was speaking in the Omaha during the PDP presidential rally campaign held at the Omaha Township Stadium. Vice President Professor Yemi Osibajo has escaped death following the crash. A helicopter flying the Vice President to Kogi State. The chopper crashed in Kaba local government area of the state, but no life was lost following the courage of the crew to maneuver it. The Central African Republic, CAR, and 4 armed group has reached a peace deal talk in Sudan capital on Saturday. The CAR government and the United Nations have said the renewed peace negotiation between the armed militias and the CAR government has been going on since January 24. And in sports, Super Eagles coach Ghana Churro listed qualifications to promote Flying Eagle star to Super Eagles. And with that, we have come to the end of our news package at 7. Thank you so much for investing your time watching. Do have a beautiful Sunday ahead. Good morning once again. My name is Gloria Opara.